The annotated bibliography is our biggest assignment of the semester and worth 20% of your course grade. So I want to make sure that you'll be able to do it successfully and get the best grade on it that you can. So I want to go over the 4 different elements of the annotated bibliography assignment for you one more time to make sure that you're doing it to the best of your ability. The first part is to do a citation of the source in correct MLA format. Remember that I told you if you're using one of the library databases and a source from there, they often have just a button here that says Cite. And remember, we're doing our citations in MLA style. So you may have to switch the style, but then it gives you the citation and you can copy it and use that for your annotated bibliography. If you're doing a Google search and there is no citation for the source, that's when you're going to need the Purdue OWL website. And I've linked this in a couple places in the course. But you can also search Purdue OWL Works Cited page. Okay, this page that I started on tells you kind of the basic format. In most cases, you're going to have an electronic source. That means you Googled for something and you found it on the internet. So to do a electronic source, these videos that this source gets are distracting. This is going to give you all the information you need to cite it. Most cases, you're not citing an entire website, but you're usually citing a page on a website that will have a title. So you can look at these examples and see what the different parts are. You're going to have the author's last name, first name, the title of the article, and then who publishes the website. This one WebMD, this one eHow. If there's a date, the date is going to come here after the publisher, and then there's the URL. If you can't look at those and figure out what they are, these are the parts that you need, right? The author, the article name, the title of the website or project. There's a version number. There's usually not in a regular website. There's often not a separate publisher, and there's often not page numbers. Then you put the URL. And then sometimes you can put the date of access. If there is no other date, then put the date of access at the end. That's how you're going to cite a regular website or information from a regular website. Okay, the next aspect of your annotated bibliography is the summary. Remember these elements of the summary. The summary should name the title of the article in the summary and the author, and it should contain none of your opinion. So you don't want to have any evaluation. You don't want to say anything like this is a good source or it gave a great piece of information or anything like that, because that's your opinion that it's good or great. You just mainly want to say what the source said. Think about it as you went to a movie last night and you want to summarize for your friends what the movie was about. You're just simply telling them what the movie was about, not giving them any kind of your opinion on it. A good summary also starts with the notes that you take on the article, in my opinion. When I write summaries, I take good notes in the margin of my articles. I know we're looking at electronic sources, so remember, you can often do that online using the comment feature, or maybe just simply write what you might write in the margins on a piece of notebook paper. I usually read 1 or 2 or 3 paragraphs, depending on how long they are, and then try to write a short summary of that. It can be a few words, it can be a sentence, putting it in my own words, just what that section was about. Then when it's time to write my summary, I can take everything that's in the margin, and it makes it easy to write a summary of the whole article, and that way I make sure that I'm not leaving any aspect of the article out of the summary. So that's the summary. The next part is the evaluation. A lot of you have been focusing a little too much on kind of the role of the source and the significance of this source. What I'm really looking for is for you to think about who the audience for the source is, but most particularly, I want to see an evaluation of the reliability of the source and the credibility of its authors. So that's what we're going to talk about. How do you do that? How do you know if a source is reliable or credible, right? We've looked before at the CRAP test, but what I usually do is, let's say I have this article that I looked up about college success and Black males. It's from the Negro Educational Review. That's a publication that I'm not familiar with. Now I can say already, I'm pretty sure this is a reliable source. I found it on a library database. It said it's a journal. I know that journals are generally a reliable kind of source, but I want to know a little bit more about this publication to see maybe there's some kind of bias or I don't know, something else that I might need to know about it. So what you want to do then is just go to Google. That takes me right to the website for this publication. All right, I can already see this takes me to a University of Pittsburgh website. And so that also lends credibility to it, right? I know that it's sponsored by an educational institution, so that means it could be even more credible. And so then I can read about it. The Negro Education Review is an international peer-reviewed scholarly journal in publication since 1950. It's published at the University of Pittsburgh School of Education. All right, all of that tells me all I need to know about whether this is a reliable or credible publication, right? It's international. Remember that peer-reviewed means that it's the people looking at the article are people in this field, right? So that might be people who are involved with African American or Black Studies programs, the kind of articles that they might publish in this. So they've looked at them, made sure that the evidence is presented well, that it's all scholarly. And again, it's been published since 1950. So that's a long time. So that, again, also lends credibility. So I know this is a pretty credible publication. The other thing you can do also is look on Wikipedia to find out information about the different sources. They often give a good explanation as well. You can also check out the author. Jeanette M. Harris. Okay. All right, so I can see that she's in the Department of Psychology, the College of Health Sciences at the University of Rhode Island. Okay, that can tell me a little bit about her research. You know, she's a doctorate. She's published a lot, it looks like, in different things having to do with race, about gender, class. And so it seems like she is also reliable and credible. And so when I talk about is a source reliable or credible, I'm hoping that you're going to take those next steps of Googling the source to find out what you can find out about whether the sources are reliable or credible. And that might also help you think about who the audience for the source is, right? Okay, the last part is the explanation of role. For the explanation of role, that's when you're kind of going to, that's where you're going to be telling me about how you would use the source in your paper, not paper, this time it's a presentation. How you use the source in your presentation. So for your presentations, you usually have three aspects that you're going to be talking about. This indeed is a source, an issue that needs to be explored. It is maybe what the causes or effects of the issue are, and then possible solutions. So those are three different areas that you want to be investigating. So that makes it easy for you to say what the source's role is. You can say, you know, this source helped me develop my claim that, you know, Black males usually are less successful than other races in college. Or this source gives a good overview of the whole issue. It talks about why this happens. It talks about the fact that it does happen, and it provides some solution. Or, you know, it gives, this is a good source because it tells me about solutions to this particular problem. So again, the explanation of the role is really about how do you think you could use this source in your presentation. You can also put, I read this source, I did the whole thing. I don't think this is going to be a good source. It doesn't have any of the information that I want, that I was really looking for. I thought it was going to be better, but it doesn't seem to give the evidence that I want to have. And that's okay. You can say it's not a good source. Okay, so those are the four aspects of the annotated bibliography. I hope this helps you to be able to get 100 out of 100 on this assignment.